Welcome to Void Realities, a place where the noise of the day fades and your restless mind can drift into wonder. Here we wander through science, time, and the mysteries of the universe, told in a voice meant to calm you, to slow your thoughts, to guide you gently towards sleep. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let the journey begin. The rise and fall of dinosaurs. The dawn before dinosaurs. Before dinosaurs walked the earth, the planet was young, restless, and full of hidden promise. Volcanoes breathed fire, seas stretched wide, and strange creatures stirred in the shadows. In this ancient silence, the stage was being set for giants yet to come. You arrive at the threshold of deep time, where beginnings hum like a heartbeat. You close your eyes and the world around you begins to fade. The familiar hum of the present softens until only a slow rhythm remains, the deep heartbeat of Earth itself. You breathe in, and with that breath you step backward, far beyond memory, far beyond the reach of human history. Time loosens its grip, unspooling like a gentle river flowing in reverse. The centuries fall away, the millennia slip past, and the air grows thick with an ancient warmth. When you arrive, there are no cities, no roads, no birdsong. The earth before dinosaurs is a restless place, untamed and raw, yet full of quiet potential. The ground trembles with the stirrings of volcanoes, their fiery breath painting the horizon with glowing ash. Oceans spread wide, heavy with salt and silence, their waves whispering against unfamiliar shores. The continents are not yet the shapes you know. They are pieces in motion, drifting slowly, like great rafts on a dark sea. You feel the weight of this silence. Life is here, but it is scattered, small and fragile. In the waters swim strange creatures with armored bodies, some gliding with fins shaped like shields, others snapping with jaws older than time. On land, the earliest forests rise like solemn cathedrals, filled with towering ferns and spindly trees that reach upward with desperate grace. Insects larger than your hand drift lazily through the heavy air, their wings shimmering in the dim light. It is a world both empty and alive, a canvas stretching out, waiting to be filled. You walk softly through this ancient landscape, feeling the earth beneath your feet, sensing the heat that lingers from within. The ground still carries the memory of fire. Molten rock lies close beneath the surface, pulsing like blood in the body of the planet. Each eruption reshapes the land, carving valleys, raising ridges, laying the foundation for what will come. The air tastes of ash and minerals, a reminder that creation is often born of chaos. And yet, amid this turbulence, there is beauty. Pools of shallow water shimmer in the light, reflecting skies tinged with the faint blush of volcanic dust. Tiny creatures, almost invisible, gather in these pools. They are simple, delicate, but powerful in their persistence. From them new forms will rise, new experiments in life's endless unfolding. You bend closer as if listening, and you can almost hear their whisper, a promise that the story has only begun. As the days and nights pass, you feel the rhythm of the planet steady itself. The oceans sigh, the forests breathe, and the first reptiles stretch their limbs beneath the warming sun. They are small, quick, and uncertain, their bodies pressed low against the earth as if hiding from the vastness around them. They do not yet know that one day their descendants will tower above the world. For now they move cautiously, testing the balance between fragility and survival. In the stillness, you sense how time gathers itself. Millions of years pass in a slow exhale. Mountains rise and crumble, seas advance and retreat, forests grow thick and then vanish, only to be born again elsewhere. It is as if Earth is rehearsing, shaping and reshaping itself, preparing for something grand. Each cycle deepens the foundation, creating a stage large enough to hold the giants to come. The air grows warmer, heavy with carbon and energy. The skies are painted not only by clouds, but by the lingering haze of volcanic smoke, which drifts like curtains pulled across the horizon. The sun shines through this haze with a muted glow, a softened warmth that makes the world feel dreamlike, suspended between sleep and awakening. And always beneath it all, there is movement. The continents continue to drift inch by inch toward one another. They will eventually join into a single massive land, a supercontinent where new forms of life will rise and thrive. You feel the inevitability of it, the quiet determination of the Earth's plates as they grind and shift below. Nothing in this world is still. Everything is in motion, even if the motion is too slow to see. You pause, letting the vastness wash over you. It is easy to forget in the comfort of the present that Earth has worn so many faces before yours. It has been a barren rock, a water world, a fiery furnace, a frozen sphere. Now, in this age before dinosaurs, it is a place of preparation, a breath held in the lungs of time. You are standing at the threshold of a story that will stretch for millions of years, a story of rise and fall, of beauty and destruction, of power and fragility. In the distance you hear the low hum of insects, their wings beating like tiny drums. You notice the soft rustle of ferns as the wind moves through them. These sounds, faint though they are, carry the weight of persistence. Life is fragile here, yet it endures, refusing to fade. Each small creature, each simple plant, is a step on the path that leads toward the age of giants. You imagine the future hidden within these quiet forms. The small reptiles that scurry in the undergrowth will give rise to lineages that dominate the land. The simple ferns and conifers will be joined by flowering plants, covering the earth in color. The insects, already tireless travelers, will become partners in pollination, weaving together the threads of survival. Every detail matters, every life form carries within it the seeds of transformation. And as you breathe, you begin to understand. This is not emptiness, not a mere waiting room for history. This is a beginning, delicate and necessary, a dawn that carries within it the weight of all that is to come. Without this groundwork, the restless earth, the fragile creatures, the shifting seas, there could be no age of dinosaurs. The silence is not an absence but a preparation, a gathering of strength before the great unfolding. You let the thought settle into you, like a stone placed gently in water. This deep time, this vast prelude, is part of the same earth you walk today. The air you breathe once carried volcanic ash. The ground beneath your feet was shaped by those ancient fires. The world has always been in motion, always carrying its stories forward, one layer at a time. Night begins to fall over this primeval landscape. The air cools, the insects quiet, and the forests settle into a gentle stillness. Stars appear in the sky, though they are ancient too, shining down on a world unrecognizable from your own. Yet the light they give is the same, a reminder that even across millions of years, some things endure unchanged. You stand in the hush of this ancient night, listening to the heartbeat of Earth. The ground beneath you hums with life yet to be born, with futures yet to arrive, and you know that soon, in the chapters ahead, those futures will step into the light, small at first, then larger, until the very ground trembles beneath their weight. For now you rest at the edge of dawn, aware of what is stirring, aware of what is waiting. The silence is deep, but within it you hear footsteps approaching, the first hints of a coming age. And so you linger here, in the quiet before the giants, feeling the earth gather itself. Each breath, each tremor, each fragile life is a step towards something greater. You sense it rising softly, like footsteps in the distance, leading you into the Triassic dawn. Footsteps into the Triassic. You walk into a warm world where the first dinosaurs are small, light, and uncertain. They move among towering ferns and strange reptilian neighbors. Life is fragile here, yet every step carries the whisper of a coming age. The earth itself feels like it is breathing, waiting for something larger to awaken. You stand at the edge of the silence you left behind, and now the air begins to stir. The stillness of the dawn is fading, replaced by faint movements, by cautious footsteps in the soil. You are entering the Triassic, a chapter in Earth's story that feels like a first breath after sleep, uncertain, delicate, but full of promise. The ground beneath you is warm, holding the memory of fire from the restless earth within. Volcanoes still rise and breathe, their shadows stretching across the land, but the world is quieter now than it was in the earlier chaos. The continents, once scattered and drifting, are drawing together, locked into a single massive form called Pangaea. From your vantage you see it as a vast expanse, endless dry deserts, long rivers and coastlines that seem to go on without end. It is a supercontinent, wide and harsh, but alive with possibility. You take a step, and the air greets you with its heat. The Triassic world is warmer, drier, and harsher than the one you left. Rain is rare, and much of the land lies under open sky without forests dense enough to soften the light. Yet, where rivers wind and lakes gather, life takes hold with tenacity. Along these waters, plants root themselves into the soil, tall cycads, spiky conifers, and fern-like groves that rise like green islands in a sea of dust. Among these thickets, creatures stir. They are not yet the giants you imagine when you think of dinosaurs. Instead, they are small, quick, almost fragile in their appearance. The earliest dinosaurs are no larger than a dog, running on two slender legs, their tails stretched behind them like balancing poles. They move lightly across the earth, darting between shadows, their footsteps pressing softly into the soil that remembers fire. You notice how they carry themselves, alert, restless, cautious. They are not yet rulers of this world. They share the land with many others, with crocodile-like reptiles that bask in the sun, with armored beasts whose backs are ridged with bony plates, with lizard-like hunters whose jaws snap with sharp precision. In this age, power is distributed, and dinosaurs are merely participants in a crowded stage. Yet, as you watch, something about them feels different. Their movements are quicker, more balanced, their bodies lighter, their limbs built for both speed and endurance. They do not sprawl low to the ground like their reptilian neighbors. Instead, they stand taller, running on hind limbs, freeing their front limbs for new possibilities. They are small, yes, but they carry within them the seeds of change. You follow one of these early dinosaurs as it moves along the riverbank. Its scales glimmer faintly in the sunlight, its head turning sharply to watch for danger. Nearby, insects buzz lazily, dragonflies as wide as your hand drifting through the thick air. Frogs croak from the water's edge, their small bodies hidden in reeds. Fish ripple beneath the surface, their fins flashing silver as they dart from shadow to shadow. It is a small chorus of life, each voice faint, but together forming the background of a world in transition. The Triassic is a time of experiments. Life is testing new forms, new strategies, new designs for survival. Some creatures grow armored shells, others sprout sails along their backs to catch the sun. Some stretch into long, lizard-like hunters. Others shrink, hiding in burrows or beneath stones. Evolution works here like a patient artist, sketching shapes, erasing, sketching again, until something lasting begins to emerge. The earliest dinosaurs thrive not by size or strength, but by adaptability. They run swiftly across open ground, they conserve water in the heat, they find niches where larger creatures cannot easily follow. They are not yet dominant, but they are survivors, and in the quiet persistence of survival lies the foundation of the future. As you walk further into this age, you feel time stretch in great arcs. Millions of years drift past like gentle waves, and you notice how the earth itself changes with them. The deserts shrink and grow, lakes form and vanish, mountains rise slowly on the horizon. With each shift, creatures adapt or vanish, but the dinosaurs endure. They remain small, unassuming, yet their numbers grow, their forms diversify, and with each generation their presence deepens. You pause in a grove of ancient conifers, their tall trunks rising like pillars around you. In the shadows you glimpse another of these early dinosaurs. It tilts its head toward you, its eye gleaming with alertness. It is not fierce, not yet majestic, but there is something in its gaze that lingers, a sense of possibility, as though it carries within its fragile body the echo of something vast. At night the Triassic world softens, the heat of day cools, the insects grow quieter, and the stars spread wide above. You stand beneath them, breathing in the heavy air, listening to the faint rustle of movement in the undergrowth. Small reptiles stir, predators prowl, but the dinosaurs sleep lightly, hidden in the shadows. Their survival depends on alertness, on readiness, on the patience to wait for their time. And though they do not know it, that time is coming. Slowly, the balance of the world is shifting. Great extinctions lie just ahead, extinctions that will sweep away many of their rivals, leaving space for the dinosaurs to rise. You can almost feel the planet gathering itself again, preparing for another transformation. The ground beneath you hums with it, the air vibrates with it, the stars above seem to watch it unfold. This is how great ages begin. Not with sudden dominance, but with small, quiet footsteps pressed into soft soil. With fragile bodies that endure heat and drought. With cautious creatures that move lightly, yet persistently, across a restless land. You close your eyes and listen. In the rhythm of the insects, in the rustle of leaves, in the faint padding of small feet through the undergrowth, you hear it. The whisper of a dynasty preparing to awaken. The Triassic world is not yet ruled by giants, but the footsteps are there, growing stronger, more certain, more inevitable with each passing century. And as you drift deeper into this ancient night, you sense the quiet approach of something larger. The footsteps you follow are leading somewhere, toward shadows that will swell into mountains of flesh and bone. You breathe and the air tells you gently, the Jurassic is waiting. Giants of the Jurassic. The land stretches wide with forests of conifers and the song of insects, sauropods immense as moving mountains graze slowly under the sun. Predators stalk with quiet patience, shaping balance through fear and survival. You drift among them, carried on the rhythm of breath, bone, and ancient sky. The footsteps of the Triassic have carried you here, across the threshold into a new age. You feel the shift immediately, as though the very air has changed its rhythm. The earth is greener now, wetter, richer. Rains fall more often, rivers wind like silver ribbons, and forests stretch vast and tall. You are entering the Jurassic, a world that feels both gentle and immense, alive with abundance, humming with life that rises and falls like a tide. The land before you is no longer a desert plain broken by scattered groves. It is a landscape of towering conifers, their needles whispering in the wind. Ferns carpet the ground in thick green waves, and cycads rise like ancient guardians of the forest. Everywhere you look, plants flourish, drinking deeply from the softened air, spreading wide across valleys and hillsides. It is a stage prepared not just for survival, but for greatness. And then you see them. At first they appear as shadows among the trees, shapes too vast to be understood. Slowly they emerge into the light, their forms revealed as living mountains, sauropods, the giants of the Jurassic. Their necks stretch like bridges between earth and sky, rising far above the canopy to reach the highest branches. Their bodies are immense, heavy with bone and muscle, each step pressing deeply into the soil, leaving imprints that will fossilize into whispers of their presence millions of years later. You watch them move, and the sight is strangely calming. Despite their size, they are gentle in their rhythm, swaying as they walk, grazing quietly, their long tails sweeping slowly behind them. They live on plants, consuming tons of vegetation, yet their manner is unhurried, patient, as though they have all the time in the world. You imagine the ground trembling softly beneath their weight, like the slow heartbeat of the earth itself. Beside them, smaller dinosaurs scurry, weaving between the legs of the giants. Some are early stegosaurs, with plates rising like shields along their backs, glinting faintly in the sun. Others are tiny, feathered creatures, darting quick as sparks through the underbrush, their fragile bodies carrying the promise of futures yet to come. The world is alive with contrast, vast and small, heavy and light, predator and prey. each thread woven into the balance of the Jurassic Age. Yet balance is never without tension. In the shade of the forest you sense eyes watching. Hidden among the trees is another presence, leaner, sharper, more deliberate. The great predators of the Jurassic are here as well. Allosaurs, their bodies sleek and powerful, their jaws lined with serrated teeth. They move with patience, shadows that blend into the green, waiting for the moment when weakness reveals itself. You feel the tension between them, predator and prey, each shaping the other. The sauropods grow larger, their size itself a shield against attack. The predators grow faster, smarter, more cooperative, learning to hunt in packs, to wait for the young, the sick, the old. It is a dance written into the very fabric of life. Survival through balance, power answering power, shaping a world that is both violent and beautiful. As you walk through this landscape, you feel the scale of it press against you. The air is thick with sound, the low rumble of giants calling to one another across valleys, the buzz of insects drifting through shafts of sunlight, the distant cry of predators echoing through the trees. Even the silence between sounds feels heavy, as though the earth itself is listening. You tilt your head upward, following the long curve of a sauropod's neck as it reaches into the canopy. Its head moves slowly, delicately, plucking needles from branches with surprising grace. You realize that these giants are not clumsy or brutish. They are precise in their movements, adapted perfectly to their role. Their size is not a mistake, but an achievement, a triumph of survival in a world where plants grow tall and plentiful, demanding mouths large enough to meet them. At night the world softens but does not grow smaller. The moon casts silver light across the forest, illuminating the shapes of the giants as they continue their slow feeding. They do not rest as humans do. Their great bodies require constant nourishment, and so they graze even under the stars. The predators, however, grow bolder in the darkness. You hear them moving, their footsteps faint but purposeful, their eyes gleaming as they track the vulnerable. Somewhere in the distance, a cry breaks the night, sharp and brief, swallowed by silence soon after. You breathe in, steadying yourself. It is easy to imagine fear in such a world, where every shadow might hold teeth, and every moment could shift from calm to chaos. Yet here in this meditative journey, fear softens into understanding. The predators are not villains, they are part of the balance necessary as the giants themselves. Without them, the weak would not fall, and without that cycle, the forests would vanish beneath the weight of mouths too many and too hungry. Everything here is connected, every life depending on another, every ending making space for new beginnings. As you continue walking, you notice details that feel almost tender. A young sauropod follows its mother closely, its smaller steps quick and eager, its eyes wide with curiosity. A stegosaur raises its head toward the sun, plates shimmering faintly as if absorbing warmth. Tiny feathered hunters chase insects in the underbrush, their motions quick, playful, almost bird-like. In these quiet moments you feel the gentleness hidden within the grandeur. The Jurassic world is vast, yet it is not only a stage for titans, it is also a home for the small, the delicate, the unnoticed, each life contributing to the whole, each thread necessary in the weaving of time. You pause by a river, its surface reflecting the silhouettes of giants drinking at its edge. Their reflections ripple outward, merging and dissolving into one another. You realize that time itself is like this river, carrying reflections of all that has passed, blending them, reshaping them, until the story flows onward, ever forward, toward what comes next. The air grows cooler as evening deepens, and the forest hums with the steady rhythm of life. You feel a sense of peace, standing among creatures so vast, so ancient, yet so calm in their being. They do not rush. They do not strive beyond what is needed. They live in balance with their world, guided by instinct, by rhythm, by the quiet demands of survival. There is a lesson here, whispered to you in the swaying of long necks, in the slow rumble of footsteps pressed into soil, To live is to move gently through time, to grow and endure, to find harmony within change. And yet, even as you rest in this peace, you feel another whisper, a reminder that time is never still. The Jurassic too will pass. The giants will thrive for millions of years, shaping the land with their presence, but they are not eternal. Already faint shifts begin in the Earth's heartbeat. Already new forms stir in the shadows, preparing for a future where flowers will bloom and predators will grow larger still. The story is moving forward, even now, even here, even in this calm moment beneath the stars. You linger at the river's edge, listening to the giants breathe, their calls echoing softly through the night. Yet above them, the sky stretches wide, and you sense another chapter waiting. The oceans alive with reptiles, the skies filling with wings. You close your eyes and the world begins to shift toward water and air. Oceans of reptiles, skies of wings. The seas churn with ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs, creatures of grace and power. Above, pterosaurs trace gentle arcs against the endless blue. Earth feels fuller, alive in every element, land, water, and sky. You sense the harmony of worlds woven together by tooth, scale, and feather. You leave the forests of the giants behind, and the sound of their footsteps fades into memory. The air grows wider, fresher, filled with the smell of salt. A new rhythm greets you, the slow pulse of waves against stone, the hiss of surf along ancient shores. You have arrived at the oceans of the Jurassic, where life expands beyond the land, filling water and sky with forms both graceful and strange. The sea before you stretches vast and endless, glimmering beneath the warmth of a Jurassic sun. Its surface shimmers like liquid glass, but beneath it lies a hidden world, darker, deeper, alive with movement. You step closer to the water's edge, and already you sense it. This is no ordinary sea. It is a stage for titans of another kind, born not on land but in the blue embrace of the waves. Then, with a sudden burst of motion, the surface breaks. An ichthyosaur rises, sleek and shining, its body shaped like a dolphin though born of reptiles, not mammals. It arcs gracefully through the air before plunging back with a splash, vanishing into the deep again. These creatures are swift, streamlined for speed, their long snouts filled with sharp teeth designed to catch fish in quick flashes. You watch them move, and it feels like watching lightning turned into muscle and bone, alive and flowing through water. Deeper still, shadows glide, plesiosaurs, their long necks stretching impossibly far, their paddle-like limbs rowing steadily through the depths. Some lift their heads above the surface, eyes glistening as they scan the horizon before sinking back down again. Their movements are slower, almost meditative, yet beneath that calm lies power. They are hunters too, reaching with sudden strikes to snatch prey from below. The ocean is not empty between them. Schools of fish scatter like silver dust, darting away from open jaws. Squid-like creatures drift with pulsing grace, their soft bodies glowing faintly in the filtered light. Crustaceans scuttle across the seafloor, weaving small patterns in the sand, while ammonites, coiled-shelled relatives of squid, float gently, carried by the currents. Each form, large and small, finds its place in the endless ebb and flow. You close your eyes for a moment, listening. The ocean breathes in rhythms of its own, waves sighing against rock, currents whispering beneath the surface, the muffled thunder of great bodies moving unseen. There is a calm in its vastness, yet also a reminder. This world is powerful, and survival here requires grace, strength, and endless motion. Lifting your gaze, you notice the skies above. They are not empty. Shadows trace across the sunlit blue, long wings thin and stretched, riding currents of air. Pterosaurs. They are not birds, not yet, but they are masters of flight in this ancient sky. Their wings are vast sheets of skin stretched along elongated fingers, catching wind with ease. Some are small, darting quickly, agile as swallows. Others are larger, their wingspans stretching wider than the height of a man, soaring in lazy circles high above the sea. You follow their movements with your eyes, and the sky itself feels alive, as though the air has grown its own creatures. They swoop low, skimming the water's surface, snatching fish with long, pointed beaks. Their cries echo faintly, carried on the breeze, blending with the surf below. For a moment, you see land, sea, and sky in harmony. Giants grazing in forests, reptiles gliding through oceans, wings beating softly against the horizon. The world is fuller now, each element claimed by life, each rhythm adding to the chorus of the Jurassic Age. But harmony, as always, carries shadows. In the depths, predators lurk, massive pliosaurs, shorter-necked cousins of the plesiosaurs, but far more fearsome. Their jaws are enormous, filled with teeth like daggers, powerful enough to crush bone with a single bite. You sense their presence even when they remain unseen, like storm clouds gathering beneath the waves. When they strike, it is sudden and violent, a flash of teeth, a churn of water, and then silence again. The sea accepts this without pause, without grief, for here, as on land, balance is written in tooth and flesh. The skies too hold danger. Not all pterosaurs soar in calm circles. Some dive swiftly, their wings slicing the air, competing with one another for prey. And from time to time, storms sweep across these oceans, winds howling, waves crashing, the air so thick with rain it blurs the horizon. In such moments, even the mightiest creatures must bow to the force of nature itself. You stand at the shore watching, and the immensity of it humbles you. The earth feels fuller here, not only because of its creatures, but because of the connections between them. Fish feed the ichthyosaurs, who in turn feed the pliosaurs. Insects buzzing above the shore become food for small pterosaurs, who themselves must watch for larger hunters. Nothing is separate. Nothing stands alone. Every ripple in the water, every wing beat in the sky is part of the whole. As dusk falls, the ocean changes color. The surface glows amber and rose, reflecting the sinking sun. Pterosaurs silhouette against the horizon, their wings like brush strokes across the fading light. The ichthyosaurs still leap, but their shapes are harder to see now, shadows against shadows. The plesiosaurs surface quietly, their long necks rising like slender islands in the dimming sea. The ocean at night feels deeper, more mysterious, filled with unseen motion. You breathe slowly, letting the rhythm of waves lull you. The world has expanded here, stretching beyond land into endless waters, lifting into skies alive with wings. You feel yourself floating between them, neither bound to the earth nor lost in the sea, but carried gently in the harmony of all three. And yet, even as you drift in this balance, you sense change stirring. Life never rests. It keeps moving, shifting, testing new forms. Already small signs are appearing along the shore. Plants with flowers, delicate blooms carrying color and fragrance, begin to emerge, calling to insects and reshaping the patterns of survival. These new beginnings whisper of the next chapter, when the earth will burst into bloom and dinosaurs will grow stranger, brighter, more varied than before. You stand at the water's edge, listening to the waves and watching the wings trace patterns above. The sea and sky have spoken, but now your path turns back to land, where something new is stirring. You take a breath, and the scent of flowers drifts faintly on the breeze, carrying you into the Cretaceous bloom. The Cretaceous bloom flowers begin to open, painting the land with color and fragrance. Insects dance from bloom to bloom, carrying the future in dust-sized grains. Dinosaurs adapt, growing stranger, more vibrant, more diverse. The earth hums with beauty, and life feels as if it is reaching for something new. The hush of the Jurassic oceans and skies fades behind you, and once again the earth reshapes itself beneath your feet. Time flows forward, carrying you into the Cretaceous, the final, longest chapter of the dinosaurs' reign. Already you sense that something is different here. The air feels softer, scented, as though carrying secrets it did not hold before. The land itself seems brighter, richer, more alive with hidden hues waiting to be revealed. You walk through a forest, and for a moment it feels familiar. Tall conifers rise above you, ferns carpet the ground, cycads stand sturdy and patient. But as you look closer, you notice something new stirring in the undergrowth. A delicate bloom, small but vivid, opens its petals to the sun. Another follows, then another. Soon the green world is flecked with splashes of color, yellows, reds, purples, blossoms scattered like stars fallen to earth. This is the bloom of the Cretaceous, the flowering of angiosperms, and with it comes a transformation unlike any before. Flowers are more than beauty. Each petal, each scent, each hue is a signal, an invitation to insects. Bees, wasps, beetles, and butterflies move among them, carrying grains of pollen no larger than dust. With every visit, every landing, every sip of nectar, they weave connections across the land. The plants lean into this new partnership, spreading wider, faster, carried on wings too small to notice yet powerful enough to reshape the future. You pause beside a cluster of blossoms. Their fragrance drifts into the air, subtle yet insistent, designed not for you but for the insects that hover nearby. A bee lands gently, brushing its body against the flower's heart, gathering food while also carrying away the promise of new life. You realize that these tiny exchanges, so small, so ordinary, are as monumental as the rise of the giants. With flowers comes diversity, abundance, resilience. The land hums with potential, and the dinosaurs are not untouched by it. They move differently now. Some graze among the blooms, cropping leaves and petals, their diets enriched by this new abundance. Others evolve alongside the flowers, their shapes and colors shifting in subtle ways. Some grow crests or frills that may have been used for display, like blossoms of flesh and bone, signals to attract mates, warnings to rivals, or perhaps something even more intricate. The Cretaceous feels like an age not only of survival, but of display, of beauty, of competition, not only in strength, but in color, shape, and sound. You wander further and find yourself in a clearing where great herds move across the land. Hadrosaurs, the duck-billed dinosaurs, graze here, their wide jaws filled with hundreds of teeth made for grinding plants. They move in groups, their young sheltered among them, their calls echoing across the plain like the horns of a distant orchestra. Some carry elaborate crests on their heads, tubes and ridges through which they may have blown, producing deep, resonant sounds. You imagine their voices rolling across the landscape, weaving communication through air thick with pollen. Nearby you glimpse ceratopsians, their faces adorned with horns and frills, each shaped with startling variety. Some carry wide shields of bone edged with spikes. Others display long, sharp horns above their eyes or noses. It is as though evolution has turned them into living sculptures, each form unique, each face a canvas of survival and display. They move in herds too, the ground trembling beneath their weight, their presence commanding and strange. The predators of this age are no less remarkable. Tyrannosaurs prowl the land, larger and more powerful than the hunters of the Jurassic. Their heads are massive, their jaws strong enough to crush bone, their eyes forward-facing, alert with intelligence. Yet even they exist within the bloom of this age, moving among herds, their presence shaping the behavior of prey. The balance holds predator and prey, beauty and danger, survival and extinction, all woven together. You pause in the shade of a flowering tree, watching the insects move in ceaseless dance. A butterfly rests on a petal, its wings patterned with delicate colors that echo the blossoms around it. For a moment, it is hard to tell where the flower ends and the insect begins. This is the new language of the Cretaceous: mimicry, attraction, partnership. Life has become not only a matter of strength or speed, but of cooperation, subtlety, and design. The air is thick with sound. Dinosaurs call across the plains, insects hum in the blooms, birds, true birds now descended from feathered dinosaurs, take to the skies with wings that beat in soft rhythms. You tilt your head upward, and for the first time the sky does not feel ruled by reptilian pterosaurs alone. Birds sing, their voices weaving into the chorus of the world, a promise of continuity beyond the age of giants. Even night holds beauty here. As the sun sinks, flowers close their petals, resting until dawn, while others open only in the dark. their scents stronger, sweeter, calling to moths that drift like pale ghosts in the starlight. Fireflies spark across the air, brief glimmers like embers floating on the breeze. You breathe in and the world feels like a tapestry of light, color, fragrance and song, a harmony layered deeper than ever before. Yet within this abundance you feel the undercurrent of impermanence. The earth has always moved in cycles, creation, flourishing, destruction, renewal. The Cretaceous bloom is no different. Even as life grows more diverse, more intricate, the stage is being set for endings as well as beginnings. The dinosaurs thrive, but they are not eternal. The flowers spread, but they too will face winters of stone and fire. You walk among them knowing that beauty often burns brightest before fading. Still, there is peace in this moment. You linger among blossoms that open to the stars, listening to the hum of insects, the distant calls of hadrosaurs, the soft wing beats of birds. The air is alive, layered with scents and sounds, and you feel as though the earth itself is singing. The bloom of the Cretaceous is not only an age of survival, it is an age of wonder, of connection, of life reaching toward forms it has never touched before. And as you rest within this bloom, surrounded by color and sound, you feel the shadow of something larger stirring. For even among blossoms, power rules and a tyrant rises, sharp-toothed, relentless, waiting in the tall grass. The earth whispers its name, and you follow the echo into the next chapter. The tyrant kings, a great predator emerges, massive, sharp-toothed, relentless. The tyrannosaur and its kin rule the land, fierce and patient hunters. Prey and predator move in a slow dance of survival, each shaping the other. You feel the weight of power and the fragility beneath it. The bloom of flowers still lingers in the air, sweet and fragrant, but now a different presence begins to stir. The petals tremble, not from wind, but from footsteps heavy enough to send shivers through the soil. The song of insects grows softer. The calls of hadrosaurs fade into distance. A silence spreads, low and watchful. You know without seeing that something powerful is near. From the shadow of the Cretaceous forest it steps into view. The tyrant, the king, the predator whose very name will one day echo across time. Tyrannosaurus rex. Its body is immense, 15,000 pounds of muscle and bone balanced on two massive legs. Its tail sweeps long and steady behind, a counterweight to the enormous head carried forward. And that head, heavy with power, is filled with teeth like curved blades, each as long as your hand, serrated to tear through flesh and bone. This is not the delicate quickness of the early Triassic hunters, nor the sleek grace of the Jurassic allosaurs. This is power condensed into form. You watch it move, and though its steps are heavy, they are also measured, almost patient. Its eyes, forward-facing, glint with intelligence. It does not rush, it waits, it studies, it chooses. The tyrannosaur is a hunter that knows the strength of restraint. The air itself seems to bend around its presence. Small dinosaurs scatter, their footsteps quick and frantic. Insects rise from the flowers in sudden bursts, as though seeking distance from a force they cannot comprehend. Yet the hadrosaurs and ceratopsians remain, grazing at a careful distance. They know this predator too well. Their herds keep tight formation, the young protected in the center, adults ready to defend if the king should strike. But the tyrant does not waste energy. It walks slowly, circling, reading the herd, waiting for weakness. A limp in the leg of one hadrosaur, a moment's hesitation in a young ceratopsian. These are the openings it seeks. The predator's patience is as much a weapon as its teeth. You linger in its shadow, and though you feel the weight of fear, you also sense balance. For as much as prey fears predator, predator depends upon prey. They are bound together, two halves of survival, shaping each other's evolution in a slow dance across time. The hadrosaurs grow faster, stronger, their senses sharper, their herds tighter. The predators grow larger, more cunning, their jaws more powerful. It is an arms race written not in metal or fire, but in bone and instinct. At dusk you follow the tyrant as it moves toward water. The herd has moved away, and now the predator lowers its head to drink, the ripples of its tongue spreading across the surface. For a moment it is quiet, almost gentle, a creature as alive and vulnerable as any other. Its great chest rises and falls, its body scarred by battles past. You realize that even kings bleed, even rulers tire, even predators face the same hunger and the same risk of failure. The night deepens, and with it the rhythm of life sharpens. Somewhere in the dark a cry erupts, short, sharp, then cut off. You do not see it, but you know the tyrant has found its meal. The silence afterward is heavy, but not cruel. It is the silence of the cycle, the silence that makes room for survival, the silence that reminds you life always takes and gives in equal measure. As the stars spread above, you look at the tyrant in a different way, not only as a killer, but as a force of balance, a sculptor of the world around it. Its presence shapes behavior, migration, even evolution. Without predators, the herds would multiply unchecked, stripping the land bare. Without prey, the predator's power would collapse into emptiness. Each needs the other, each gives the other purpose. In the distance you hear the calls of other tyrannosaurs. They are not solitary shadows. They may hunt in pairs, or at least gather around a kill, drawn by scent and hunger. Their voices carry across the land, low and thunderous, shaking the air with a resonance that lingers in your chest. You imagine hearing that sound as a smaller creature, a hadrosaur calf or a lone bird in the trees. It is a sound that demands caution, a sound that reshapes choices. And yet, among all this power, there are still softer moments. Fossils tell us that some tyrannosaurs may have cared for their young, guarding them in nests, bringing food to fragile mouths. You picture it now. The king bending down, its massive head lowering toward a cluster of hatchlings, its breath warm, its eye unblinking, its teeth near, but its action protective rather than destructive. Even among predators there is tenderness, though it may be brief, though it may be hidden beneath the shadow of hunger. You walk further into the plains, following the rhythm of this age. Everywhere you look you see variety, horned ceratopsians, crested hadrosaurs, armored ankylosaurs with clubs for tails. Each species has grown stranger, more ornate, as though life itself is experimenting with extravagance. And in the midst of them all the tyrant stands, not as decoration, but as necessity. Its form is not adorned, not softened, not ornate. Its form is purpose itself, teeth, bone, muscle, patience, the embodiment of survival. The moon rises higher, casting pale light over the land. The tyrannosaur lifts its head, eyes glinting, and for a moment you meet its gaze. You feel the raw force of its being, the inevitability of its role. Yet behind that you sense fragility. Even the king depends on the world around it, on the herds it hunts, on the forests that feed them, on the balance of an ecosystem that could crumble with a single shift. Power, no matter how immense, is never truly secure. You breathe slowly, letting this realization settle. The tyrant kings are not eternal, not invincible, not immune to time. Their reign is vast but not endless. Already in the flow of deep time, the earth prepares to change again. Already the shadow of an ending begins to form beyond the horizon. The flowers that bloomed, the herds that flourished, the tyrants that ruled, all are steps in a story that moves forward without pause. Still, here in this moment, they live. The tyrant kings walk the earth, their footsteps pressing deep into the soil, their voices echoing through forests and plains. They are power made flesh, fragility wrapped in strength, rulers bound to the same cycle as all who came before and all who will come after. And as you drift into the quiet of night, the echo of their footsteps lingers. Yet even in the shadow of kings another story unfolds, softer, stranger, feathered and bright. You turn toward it gently, hearing the first rustle of feathers in the dark. Feathers, colors and song. Some dinosaurs wear feathers, shimmering with hues unseen in earlier ages. They call, dance and display, weaving survival with beauty. The line between dinosaur and bird grows softer, almost invisible. In their small songs you hear echoes of the future. The shadow of the tyrant king still lingers in your memory. The thunder of footsteps, the glint of teeth. Yet now, as time carries you forward, the world reveals a gentler rhythm. You begin to notice details not defined by power or dominance, but by beauty. Among the giants, something smaller, quieter, more intricate is unfolding. Feathers, colors, song. At first glance it seems improbable. Dinosaurs, the rulers of the land, dressed not only in scales but in plumes of delicate filaments. Fossils whisper the truth. Tiny hair-like structures cover the bodies of many species, some simple, some already branching into feathers like those of birds. What began perhaps as insulation, warmth against cool nights, protection for fragile hatchlings, evolves into something more. Display. You see it now. A small raptor-like dinosaur, no larger than a modern turkey, lifts its arms and spreads a mantle of feathers. Sunlight strikes and the feathers shimmer in iridescent hues, blues, greens, perhaps even reds. Its display is not a shield, not a weapon, but a performance. Across the forest clearing, another of its kind watches. What began as warmth has become communication, attraction, art written into the body. You realize that survival is not only about teeth and claws, it is also about persuasion, about signaling strength without fighting, about choosing mates through beauty, song, and dance. Evolution experiments not only with armor and size, but with elegance and expression. You pause beneath a flowering tree, and the air fills with sound. Calls echo around you, some low and resonant, others high and melodic. Hadrosaurs still rumble with their deep horn-like cries, but among the feathered dinosaurs the voices are sharper, more varied. They are not yet birdsong, but they are closer. Notes strung together in patterns, perhaps calls of territory, of courtship, of recognition. You watch a pair of small feathered creatures circle one another. Their movements are deliberate, rhythmic, almost like dance. Feathers fan and flutter, tails sway, throats rumble with sound. They are weaving meaning into motion, shaping bonds through display. In this moment, survival is not violence. It is beauty turned into language, and with feathers comes possibility. Some species glide from tree to tree, feathers stretched wide, catching air. Others flap in short bursts, testing the boundary between falling and flying. You watch them, and the line between dinosaur and bird begins to blur. The sky, once ruled only by pterosaurs, is beginning to welcome a new kind of flyer. True birds, their feathers shaped into wings, their movements quick and precise. The first birds are not yet like those you know today. Their teeth are sharp, their tails long with bone, their claws still clutching branches with reptilian strength. Yet their wings beat with a new rhythm, their feathers layered for lift, their bodies lighter, their bones hollowed to make room for air. The sky is shifting slowly, quietly, into a place where song will rise. At dusk you sit in the forest and watch them settle. The giants call in the distance, but here the air is filled with softer sounds, chirps, trills, whistles. They are not yet the songs of sparrows or nightingales, but they carry the same essence. Patterns of sound crafted not for survival alone, but for connection, recognition, and beauty. The forest feels alive not only with movement, but with voice. You breathe deeply, letting the thoughts settle. Beauty itself has become a force in evolution. Feathers shimmer to attract mates, colors warn predators away. Songs carry across valleys to declare territory. What once was ornament becomes survival. What once was survival becomes art. The story of life is not only a story of power, it is also a story of expression. As night deepens, the forest glows faintly. Fireflies drift among blossoms, their light mirrored in the sheen of feathers as small dinosaurs settle onto branches. Some tuck their heads beneath their wings, others huddle together for warmth. You realize that in their sleep, they resemble birds more than beasts, perched lightly, dreaming perhaps of skies they will one day fully claim. You close your eyes, listening to the soft chorus of calls. The kings still walk the plains, the giants still graze in herds, but here, among feathers and song, the future is already written. The line between dinosaur and bird has blurred beyond recognition. The age of giants will end, but their voices will not be silenced. They will take wing, carrying the memory of scales and teeth into skies filled with music. And as you rest in this chorus of feathers and calls, the night reminds you that beauty, too, is fragile. The earth itself is shifting once more, its breath growing restless, its climate uncertain. You sense the air grow heavier, as though the world itself prepares for change. A changing earth. The climate shifts, seas rise and fall, continents drift apart. Volcanoes rumble, sending ash and warmth into the air. Life adjusts, bends and reshapes, but not without cost. You feel time pressing forward, as if the earth itself is restless. The feathers and songs of the smaller dinosaurs still linger in your thoughts, delicate and bright. But now the world itself begins to stir with a deeper, heavier rhythm. You sense it in the ground beneath your feet, in the air that seems thicker, in the horizon where smoke smudges the sky. The earth is restless. It has always shifted, always changed, but here in the later Cretaceous the changes are wide, sweeping, unavoidable. You look around, and the land itself feels unsettled. Continents that once clung together as Pangaea have broken apart, drifting slowly into new positions. The supercontinent has fractured into smaller lands separated by widening seas. Where once deserts stretched endlessly, now coastlines dominate, shallow seas cutting across the continents like blue scars. What you see is not a fixed world, but one in motion. A slow rearranging of the map that will one day resemble the Earth you know. The climate swells and dips with this restlessness. Some regions grow warmer, humid, almost tropical, lush with flowering plants. Others grow cooler, drier, the forests thinning, grass-like plants beginning to creep across open spaces. The dinosaurs adapt, but you can feel the strain in their movements. Some grow larger, others smaller. Some specialize, narrowing their diets or habitats. Others spread wide, flexible, enduring. The world is testing them, pushing them, shaping them in ways that will decide who survives and who vanishes. You walk through a valley where the earth itself breathes fire. A volcano looms, its slopes streaked with rivers of blackened rock. From its crown, smoke coils upward, carrying ash into the sky. The ground trembles beneath your steps, a reminder of the molten heart within the planet. You watch as ash falls lightly across the land, coating leaves and flowers, dulling their colors to gray. The animals here move cautiously, their calls subdued. Even the giants must bow to the rumble of the earth. And yet, volcanoes give as much as they take. The ash enriches soil, the gases alter the air, the eruptions change climates in ways that force life to adapt. In this shifting balance, new ecosystems emerge. You sense the resilience of life here, fragile yet determined, bending with the storm rather than breaking. The seas, too, are changing. Shallow oceans flood across the continents, warm and fertile, teeming with marine life. You stand on a cliff above one such sea and look down into waters alive with motion. Mosasaurs, immense reptiles with jaws built for crushing, glide beneath the surface. Turtles with shells broad as tables paddle through the shallows. Sharks circle, ammonites drift, fish flash like scattered stars. This sea is no empty void. It is as vibrant, as crowded as the land itself. But the seas rise and fall unpredictably. With every shift in ocean level, coastlines retreat or advance, drowning forests, stranding marine creatures. The instability shapes survival. Dinosaurs that once roamed far inland find their habitats narrowed. Those that linger near the coasts must adapt to changing landscapes, where tides reshape the land again and again. The skies, too, hold echoes of change. Storms gather with sudden force, winds howling, rain falling in sheets so heavy it blurs the earth into water and gray. Hurricanes sweep across shallow seas, reshaping shorelines overnight. Even the strongest predators, the tyrant kings, must find shelter when the sky itself seems to break apart. You watch from the edge of a forest as lightning forks across the sky, thunder rolling over the plains, rain drumming against leaves like 1,000 beating hearts. The world is alive, but it is restless, never still. And within this restlessness, extinctions bloom like shadows. Not the great catastrophe to come, not yet, but smaller endings that ripple across ecosystems. Some groups vanish quietly, leaving only fossils behind. Others dwindle, pushed aside by those more adaptable. You feel these absences as silences, gaps in the chorus of life. Where once there were certain calls, certain movements, there is now only stillness. Life endures, but it also loses, reshaping itself around absence as much as presence. As you wander through this shifting age, you sense how fragile balance truly is. A rise in temperature here, a fall in sea level there, a line of volcanoes erupting. Each change forces creatures to adjust or vanish. The dinosaurs you see, no matter how mighty, are not invulnerable. They are bound to the Earth's rhythms, as dependent on stability as the smallest insect on a flower. You pause beside a herd of hadrosaurs grazing near a riverbank. Their crests rise like banners, their voices carry across the valley in low, resonant calls. They seem steady, numerous, thriving. Yet you know their survival is not guaranteed. The river could shift course, the climate could dry, the forests could vanish. They endure now, but time is never still. Night falls and you sit watching the glow of distant volcanoes against the stars. The earth's fire, the ocean's rise, the storms howl, all are reminders that the stage of life is never fixed. You breathe deeply, feeling both awe and unease. The dinosaurs are magnificent, but their fate is not entirely in their hands. The world shapes them as much as they shape the world. And even here, in this quiet night, you feel a deeper shift pressing closer. The climate grows more unpredictable, the ecosystems more fragile. The balance seems stretched, as if the earth itself is holding its breath, preparing for something vast, something final. You cannot see it yet, but you sense it, like a shadow on the horizon. Still, life continues. Flowers close their petals against the night. Insects hum softly in the dark. Dinosaurs settle into rest, their forms silhouetted against firelit skies. Even in change, even in restlessness, there is peace. The earth may shift, but life endures, if only for a while longer. And as you drift in the glow of volcanoes and the whisper of restless seas, you feel the air tighten, heavy with expectation. The world has changed before, but this change carries the scent of finality. You sense it approaching, not a slow shift, but a sudden light in the sky, a last day waiting. The last day. A bright light approaches from the sky, faster than thought. Impact, fire, shockwaves, and darkness spread across the planet. The age of giants ends not with a slow fading, but a sudden silence. You stand in the stillness after, listening for what remains. The earth has always changed. Continents drift, seas rise, climates shift, volcanoes breathe. You have watched ages unfold slowly, like the turning of vast and patient gears. But now, as you move forward into the late Cretaceous, you sense something different, a tension unlike the gentle rhythm of tides or the steady pulse of mountains. This change is not patient, it is sudden, it is final. The dinosaurs still live as though the world is endless. Herds of hadrosaurs graze in plains filled with flowers. Ceratopsians raise their horned heads against the horizon. Tyrannosaurs stalk quietly at the edges of forests. Life moves forward in balance, unaware that the clock is counting down. Even the smallest creatures, insects in blossoms, birds calling from branches, go on with their rituals, never suspecting that the age is closing, that their day is almost over. Far above, unseen, a rock hurtles through the darkness of space. It has been traveling for millions of years, aimless, silent, a fragment of cosmic debris. Its path is indifferent, its journey unmarked by purpose. But in the vastness of chance it has been drawn toward Earth. It is 6 miles wide, not large by cosmic standards, yet large enough to end worlds. You stand on a Cretaceous plain and feel the air shift. At first it is ordinary, warm with sunlight, filled with the buzz of insects. Then a new light appears in the sky. Brighter than the sun, faster than thought, it streaks downward. For a breath the world does not understand. The hadrosaurs lift their heads, confused. Pterosaurs tilt in the air, uncertain. The tyrant kings pause mid-step, their instincts stirring but unable to comprehend. And then impact. The asteroid strikes near what will one day be called the Yucatan Peninsula. In an instant, the calm of ages is broken. A shockwave radiates outward faster than sound, flattening forests, hurling bodies through the air. The ground leaps, the ocean surges, the sky itself shudders. Fire erupts as rock vaporizes, molten fragments raining back down upon the earth. Where moments ago there were flowers, forests, herds, there is now firestorm. You feel it not only as sound but as force. The air slams into you, hot and violent, though you are only a witness. The roar of the impact drowns everything, louder than thunder, louder than any storm. Dinosaurs cry out, but their voices are lost in the overwhelming surge. In the ocean's waves rise like walls, racing outward from the impact site. They crash against shores, tearing forests apart, drowning plains, sweeping creatures into the deep. Mosasaurs and plesiosaurs thrash in chaos as the seas themselves are thrown from their beds. Above, ash and dust fill the sky. Within hours, sunlight dims, then fades. The world that bloomed with flowers and song is plunged into shadow. The air grows thick with soot, the heat of impact followed by a long, choking cold. Plants wither without light. Herbivores starve. Predators follow. The great chain of life collapses link by link, not in centuries but in days, weeks, months. You walk through this twilight world and feel the silence deepen. The herds of hadrosaurs that once shook the ground are gone. The tyrant kings who once ruled with patience and power lie silent beneath ash. The ceratopsians, the ankylosaurs, the sauropods, their footsteps fade into memory. Only the small remain. Birds darting between shadows, mammals hiding in burrows, insects still moving among the fallen leaves. The giants have fallen, and the earth grows quiet. The night sky is no longer clear. Ash clouds spread across continents carrying poison, blotting out stars. The temperature drops, winds howl with unfamiliar force. You sense how fragile life is when the world itself turns against it. Dinosaurs that once seemed eternal, invincible, are gone within the span of a human lifetime. It is not weakness that undid them, but chance, a stone from the sky, a moment that rewrote the story. And yet, even here, amid fire and silence, there is persistence. Some plants endure, their seeds carried underground or sheltered in water. Some animals survive by burrowing, by feeding on roots and insects, by living small. The birds, feathered heirs of the dinosaurs, endure too, their light bodies carrying them through famine. Life does not end, it changes, shifts, begins again in smaller, quieter forms. You breathe in the heavy air and feel sorrow for the giants. Their reign stretched across millions of years, longer than human imagination can truly grasp. They thrived, they adapted, they filled every corner of land, sea, and sky. And yet their ending was sudden, their fall written in a single day. There is a lesson in this, that no reign, no matter how long, is beyond the reach of change. Still, you sense that the dinosaurs are not gone entirely. Their bones lie buried, their shapes pressed into stone. Their feathers, their songs, their lineage carry forward in birds that still fly above you. Each sparrow, each crow, each eagle is a reminder that the age of dinosaurs has not vanished, but transformed. Extinction is not erasure, but transformation. You walk across the ashen plain and hear only the wind. The flowers are gone, the colors muted, the herds silenced. But in that silence you listen carefully. Beneath the ash, seeds wait. In the shadows, small mammals scurry. In the skies, birds cry out softly, their wings beating against the dark. Life bends, but it does not break. The story continues, even here, even after. The last day of the dinosaurs is not truly the last day of life. It is the turning of a page, the closing of one chapter so another may begin. The earth has always moved in cycles: creation, flourishing, destruction, renewal. You stand at the pivot point, at the hinge of history, feeling both grief and awe. The age of giants has ended, but the world endures. And as the ash settles, as silence spreads across land and sea, you feel a stirring beneath the weight of endings. From the shadows, small survivors emerge, fragile, quiet, persistent. The story does not stop here. It continues in whispers and wings, in survivors of the ashes, survivors of the ashes. From the rubble, small creatures stir, mammals, birds, and fragile plants. Life, though wounded, begins to knit itself back together. The dinosaurs are gone, but not entirely. Their legacy breathes in new forms. You sense continuity, a thread unbroken through time. The silence after the impact is heavy, as though the earth itself is holding its breath. The giants have fallen. The herds no longer thunder across the plains. The tyrants no longer prowl through forests. The skies no longer echo with the cries of pterosaurs. For a time it seems as if the world has ended. But endings, you realize, are rarely absolute. Even in shadow, life stirs. Even in silence, there are whispers. You look more closely at the ashen ground, and there, among the cracks, you see green. Small shoots push upward, fragile but determined, breaking through layers of soot. Seeds that survived underground, roots hidden in soil, plants sheltered in water, they begin to rise again. Their leaves unfurl toward the dim light, stretching into a world transformed. The flowers that once painted the land are gone, but their descendants wait patiently, ready to bloom again. In the soil, beneath the fallen forests, mammals emerge from burrows. They are small, no larger than mice or rats, their bodies warm-blooded, their fur thick, their movements cautious. While giants fell, these creatures hid underground, feeding on insects, roots, and seeds. Their smallness was their salvation. They could endure hunger, they could squeeze into hidden spaces, they could live unnoticed in the cracks of catastrophe. Now they scurry across the rubble, tentative but alive, carrying within them the future. In the skies, too, survivors remain. Not the vast winged pterosaurs whose dominance ended with the giants, but the smaller feathered ones, birds. Their bodies are light, their diets flexible, their endurance remarkable. They take to the air, wings beating against a heavy sky, their calls faint but defiant. They are dinosaurs still, heirs of feathers and song, carrying forward the lineage of an age now lost. Each wing beat is both a survival and a remembrance. You walk through this scarred landscape and notice how quiet it is compared to the world before. Yet within the quiet there is resilience. Beetles crawl among fallen branches, ants rebuild their colonies, frogs croak from muddy ponds. Life persists not in grandeur but in persistence, in the refusal to fade. The mammals, though small, carry a potential unseen until now. Their fur insulates them. Their warm blood allows them to move in cold nights when reptiles grow sluggish. Their teeth are varied, some sharp for meat, some flat for plants, allowing them to eat what is available in lean times. They reproduce differently, nourishing young with milk, protecting them in nests or burrows. These qualities, once minor, now become strengths. In a world stripped of abundance, adaptability is the greatest gift. Birds too adapt. Some scratch the ground for seeds, others pluck insects from bark, others scavenge from what remains. Their feathers shield them from chill. Their wings carry them to new places. Their songs begin again in faint, hesitant notes. You sense that they will not only survive but flourish, diversifying into forms unimaginable in this moment of recovery. And plants, patient, rooted, enduring, reclaim the land. Ferns are often the first, spreading across ashen plains, their fronds unfurling like green flags of return. Soon flowering plants follow, their blossoms modest at first, then brighter as insects return to carry their pollen. Forests will rise again, though it will take time. The scars of fire and flood will fade beneath canopies yet to grow. You breathe deeply and the air still tastes of ash, but beneath it is a hint of sweetness, the faint scent of growth. This is how life rebuilds, not in sudden triumph, but in slow, steady persistence. Each plant, each insect, each bird, each mammal is a thread weaving the tapestry anew. As you linger, you realize that the dinosaurs are not truly gone. Their bones lie beneath you, their shapes pressed into stone, their memory etched into the earth. And in the living birds above, their presence continues. Every flutter of a sparrow, every cry of a crow, every eagle soaring across the sky is a reminder. The dinosaurs did not vanish, they transformed. You imagine holding a feather in your hand, light, delicate, intricate. That feather is a bridge across time, connecting the age of giants to the present. Through it you touch not only a bird but a dinosaur, a lineage unbroken. Survival is not only about enduring, it is about carrying forward the essence of what came before. Night settles across this recovering world, and the survivors move quietly through the dark. A mammal nurses its young in the safety of a burrow. A bird tucks its head beneath its wing, perched lightly on a branch. Insects hum softly in the undergrowth. The chorus is smaller, quieter, but it is still a chorus. Life has not ended. It has only shifted, humbled, renewed. You sit beneath the stars, and though the constellations look the same as they did above the dinosaurs, the world below them is forever changed. The giants are gone, their age closed, their footsteps silenced, but the survivors are here, fragile yet determined, carrying seeds of futures yet to come. Mammals will grow, diversify, rise. Birds will spread their wings into skies once filled with pterosaurs. Plants will reclaim the land, painting it again with color. The ashes mark an ending, but also a beginning. The earth, restless and patient, moves forward, carrying life with it. You feel the continuity, a thread stretching from past to present, from giants to sparrows, from silence to song. And as you rest in this quiet chorus of survivors, you hear the faint beat of wings above you. They are not echoes, but continuations, reminders that the story endures. You follow their flight, knowing that in the birds of today, the dinosaurs still live. The birds that remain. Every bird that sings is a living dinosaur, feathered and free. They carry the memory of claws, teeth, and ancient skies. The world has changed, but their lineage is unbroken. In their wings you feel both past and present unfolding together. The ashes of the great extinction still lie heavy in your memory, but now the silence begins to shift. Slowly, softly, the world breathes again. And among the survivors, one lineage rises into the light more clearly than ever before. The birds. At first they seem small, almost insignificant against the scale of what has been lost. Sparrows, starlings, gulls, cranes, fragile creatures compared to the towering giants that once ruled the earth. But as you listen, as you watch, you realize that each wingbeat carries more than survival. Each feathered body holds within it a legacy millions of years old, a thread unbroken from the age of dinosaurs. You tilt your head upward and watch a bird in flight. Its wings catch the air with effortless grace, each stroke both delicate and powerful. You see hollow bones, light yet strong, an inheritance of efficiency. You see feathers layered with precision, locking and unlocking with each movement. You see eyes sharp and forward, hunting or watching, an echo of predatory ancestors. The bird is small, but in its form you glimpse tyrannosaurs, raptors, feathered dancers of the Cretaceous forests. The line has not broken, it has simply transformed. When a crow calls from a branch, its voice is harsh but familiar. You hear in it the echoes of ancient cries, sharp warnings, territorial signals, the same language of survival spoken across deep time. When a hummingbird hovers, wings blurred into invisibility, you see agility shaped not in isolation, but through the long experiments of evolution. When a hawk dives, talons outstretched, you sense the same lethal precision that once belonged to raptors hunting in packs. Birds are not replacements for dinosaurs. They are dinosaurs, alive in another form, carrying the weight of their ancestry in every motion. You walk into a marsh where herons stand silent in the shallows. Their long legs move slowly, their bodies still until the sudden strike of a beak pulls a fish from the water. The patience in their hunting is timeless. It is a reflection of balance, of knowing when to wait and when to move, a skill shaped by ages of predators that came before. In the forests, songbirds fill the air with music. Their calls are varied, patterned, woven into a chorus that seems to rise with the morning sun. No dinosaur of the Cretaceous sang like this, not in such intricate melody, but the roots of sound, calls of warning, of courtship, of recognition, stretch back to their ancestors. Now, in this quieter world, song becomes not only survival, but beauty. The age of giants may be gone, but the age of music has begun. Feathers, once simple filaments for warmth, are now canvases of color. Peacocks spread tails shimmering with blues and greens, a display as bold as any ceratopsian frill. Parrots flash scarlet, emerald, and gold among rainforest trees. Even the smallest finches carry patterns on their wings, signals of identity and attraction. You see in them the same impulse that shaped the horns of triceratops, the crests of hadrosaurs, the dances of feathered raptors. Life finds ways to turn survival into spectacle. As you linger, you notice how deeply birds are woven into the rhythms of the earth. They migrate across continents, following seasons, linking ecosystems across vast distances. They pollinate flowers, disperse seeds, keep insect populations in balance. They are not only survivors but connectors, tying together threads of life across land, water, and sky. The giants once shook the ground with their presence, but birds knit the world together with movement, song, and flight. And yet, for all their beauty, they also carry reminders of their ancestry. You see it in the curve of a talon, the tilt of a beak, the fierce stare of a raptor's eye. In ostriches, emus, and cassowaries, you see bodies large and powerful, legs built for speed and strength. In chickens scratching at the earth, you glimpse the same motions of small theropods searching for food in the underbrush. In every feather, there is memory. You close your eyes and imagine standing at the edge of time, one hand stretched toward the past, the other toward the present. On one side, the giants, sauropods, tyrannosaurs, stegosaurs, ceratopsians. On the other side, the birds that remain, sparrows, eagles, penguins, swans. The connection is unbroken. The birds are not merely survivors, they are the living continuation of dinosaurs, breathing the same air, walking the same earth beneath the same stars. At night, when the forest grows quiet, you hear the call of an owl. Its wings make no sound as it glides through darkness, hunting with precision. Its round eyes gleam, wide and unblinking, piercing the shadows. You sense in it not only the mystery of the night, but the presence of deep history, a hunter shaped by time, refined by lineage. The song of the nightbird is also the song of the past. The more you listen, the more you feel surrounded by dinosaurs, not in bones, not in stone, but in life itself. Each bird you hear is both present and ancient, both fragile and eternal. They are reminders that extinction is not always disappearance. Sometimes it is transformation, rebirth in another form, a continuation disguised in feathers. You breathe deeply and let the realization settle. Every bird that sings outside your window, every gull that wheels above the sea, every hawk that circles high in the sky, all are threads connecting you to a world millions of years gone. When you see a bird, you are not only looking at the present, you are looking at a survivor of catastrophe, a bearer of history, a living piece of the age of dinosaurs. The earth has changed and will change again. Giants will rise and fall, oceans will advance and retreat, mountains will lift and crumble. But the birds remain, wings beating in time with the heartbeat of the planet, carrying memory forward with every flight. And as you watch them rise into the sky, silhouettes against the fading light, you sense the story circling back to you. The dinosaurs are not gone, they live in the sparrows and swans, the hawks and hummingbirds, and in their wings you feel an invitation to see your own place in this unbroken thread of time. You and the age of dinosaurs. You walk now on the same earth, under the same stars they once knew. Fossils tell their story, pressed into stone like whispers of time. In your mind, you carry them, giants, hunters, singers, survivors. Their rise and fall is part of your story too, a reminder of life's fragile wonder. You have walked with them through forests and oceans, through blooms of flowers and shadows of kings. You have stood at the edge of the last day and listened to the silence that followed. Now, as the journey draws near its close, you find yourself back in the present, standing in your own time, yet carrying the weight of all that came before. Look around you. The earth beneath your feet is the same earth the dinosaurs knew. The mountains may have shifted, the seas may have retreated and advanced, the climate may have warmed and cooled, but the ground is the same ancient stage. Beneath its surface lie bones pressed into stone, waiting like quiet storytellers. Each fossil is a sentence in a book written across millions of years, each discovery a window into a world that still breathes through you. When you touch a stone in a museum, smooth and cool beneath glass, you are touching more than mineral. You are touching memory, the trace of a creature that walked this earth long before you, the imprint of scales, the shape of a claw, the curve of a feather. The fossils are not only remains, they are reminders. They whisper of resilience, of change, of endings and beginnings woven together. You close your eyes and imagine them walking beside you even now. The sauropods with their long necks swaying gently as they graze. The tyrannosaurs, their eyes fixed forward, moving with patient power. The hadrosaurs calling to one another in deep notes that roll across the plains. The feathered raptors flashing color and sound as they dance. They are gone, yet they remain, alive in your imagination, alive in the very fabric of the earth. Every bird you see today carries their echo. A robin on a branch is not merely a bird, but a living dinosaur, heir to feathers first used for warmth and later for flight. An eagle circling high is a raptor still, its talons curved like ancient claws, its wings stretched like banners of survival. A hummingbird with its furious wings and delicate body is a miracle of adaptation, its lineage stretching back to creatures that once darted among the ferns of the Cretaceous. To see birds is to see dinosaurs living still, not vanished but transformed. Even within yourself you carry their legacy. Your bones, though smaller and shaped by different paths, share patterns with theirs. Vertebrae stacked like columns, ribs curved like cages, limbs built of similar pieces arranged in different forms. Evolution has left its signatures across all creatures, binding you to them through the architecture of life. In your own heartbeat, in your breath, in your movement, you share in the same story of endurance. And more than the body, you share in their impermanence. The dinosaurs remind you that nothing lasts unchanged. Even the mightiest fall, even the most dominant fade. But from each fall, something continues. Life bends, transforms, finds new shapes. In their story, you see your own, fragile, temporary, yet part of something vast. You walk through a modern landscape, cities, forests, oceans still stretching to the horizon. You know that this too is temporary. One day what you see will be gone. Mountains will erode, rivers will shift, climates will change as they always have. Humanity will leave its own traces, fossils of its own making, imprints in stone and memory. To live is to be part of this flow, to accept that all stories are chapters in a book without end. Yet there is comfort in this truth. The dinosaurs lived for over 150 million years, far longer than humans have walked the earth. They thrived, they evolved, they adapted, they fell. And still their story lives on, in fossils, in birds, in the imagination of those who look back and listen. If their story can endure across such depths of time, so too can yours, in ways unseen, in echoes carried forward. You pause and look up at the night sky. The stars above are the same stars that shone on the dinosaurs. They looked up at this same dome of light. Though they did not name the constellations or mark the patterns, still the light is unchanged, ancient photons traveling across space to touch scales then, feathers now, and your skin tonight. In that starlight, you are connected not only to them, but to all who came before. The journey you have taken is not only about creatures long vanished, it is about perspective, seeing yourself within the immensity of time, recognizing your own smallness and your own belonging. Dinosaurs remind you that life is fragile but also resilient, that endings come, but so do beginnings, that beauty exists not only in survival, but in expression, in feathers shimmering, in calls echoing, in footprints pressed into mud that hardened into stone. You breathe slowly, letting this realization settle in your body like a calm tide. You are not separate from the dinosaurs. You are their kin, their descendant through the vast web of life. Their story is your story, carried in bones, in breath, in the continuity of existence. When you walk across the earth, you walk where they walked. When you listen to birds, you hear their voices. When you imagine the giants, you are remembering not only the past but the deep truth of connection. The age of dinosaurs has ended, but the age of life continues. You are part of that continuation, part of the same flow that carried them forward. To know their story is to know your own, fleeting, beautiful, fragile, yet enduring through change. And as you drift now toward rest, you carry with you the footsteps of giants, the feathers of birds, the whispers of fossils. The dinosaurs are not gone, they are with you, in stone, in song, in the very air you breathe. The story of the earth is vast, but tonight it folds gently around you, inviting you to dream within it. The echo of time. The journey has ended, but its rhythm lingers. You have walked with giants, flown with wings, drifted through seas of scales. Now the earth grows quiet, holding all these stories within stone and starlight. And you too are part of this vast unfolding. The story has carried you across millions of years, through forests of giants, oceans of shadows, skies of wings, and fields of flowers. You have watched life rise, transform, and fall. And now, as the final chapter closes, a deep stillness settles around you. The journey is complete, yet its echoes remain, like ripples on a pond long after the stone has fallen. You rest here at the edge of time, looking back across the sweep of ages. You see the first reptiles stepping nervously into the Triassic dawn. You see sauropods swaying like living mountains, slow and immense. You see predators waiting with patience, feathers shimmering with hidden color, wings testing the air. You see flowers blooming, oceans shifting, volcanoes rumbling, the sky blazing with fire on the last day. You see the ashes, the survivors, the birds that remain, and through it all you see yourself, small, temporary, yet woven into the same fabric. The dinosaurs remind you that life is never still. Even the mightiest fall, even the most fragile endure. Survival is not only about strength, it is about adaptation, resilience, the quiet persistence of small forms. The giants are gone, but their story did not end. It became wings, songs, fossils, and memory. Their legacy is not silence but continuity. As you breathe slowly now, you feel the rhythm of the earth in your own body. Your heartbeat is steady like the pulse of ancient oceans. Your breath rises and falls like the wind through Jurassic forests. Your bones, your cells, your being carry the same elements once carried by dinosaurs, by ammonites, by the stars themselves. You are not apart from this story. You are within it. Look up, if only in your mind, at the stars. They are the same stars that shone over the dinosaurs, the same light that touched their feathers, scales, and eyes. In that light, you are connected across millions of years. You are standing in the same universe, walking on the same earth, breathing the same air that has cycled through countless lives before you. There is comfort in this vastness. The dinosaurs may have fallen, but life continues, reshaped and renewed. You too are part of this renewal, a fleeting but precious thread in the endless fabric of existence. The story of the earth is not only about extinction, it is about endurance, transformation, and the beauty of impermanence. You close your eyes and the images soften, forests fading into shadows, wings folding into stillness, seas quieting into calm. What remains is not the noise of survival. but the quiet truth beneath it, that life endures, that endings are beginnings, that all things are connected. The earth is vast, but tonight it feels gentle. It cradles you as it cradled the giants, the feathered dancers, the small survivors. You rest within its story, part of its song, carried on its timeless breath. And as you drift now into sleep, the echoes of deep time hum softly around you. The giants walk in dreams, the birds sing in memory, the stars shine unchanged. You are safe, you are small, and you are infinite. A quiet note in the eternal chorus of life.